Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time, as we say every single Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Today is a special webinar, special event for a lot of reasons. And I know I say this a lot too, but at the end of the day, we huddle up every Tuesday morning to talk about the webinars of the month. And we try to make sure we listen to our agents' feedback, suggestions, anything that ultimately can help you and your business, right, be more successful. That's what this is all about. So what we're talking about today is Long-Term Care Awareness Month, November. It's also Thanksgiving. It's a month for giving back. That's what this is all about, right? It's for you to help your consumers spread the message, right? Maybe it's social media marketing campaigns, which we're going to share at the end. Maybe it's some sales ideas that you can drip on your existing book of business that generates a phone call, a question about LTC, maybe a quote request. Okay. And you have to remember 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? There was standalone long-term care, right? Nobody knew about riders and hybrids and, oh, you can actually buy a life insurance policy and have a long-term care attached. Okay, so we know about this, yes, in the four walls, right? And we've heard the term with annuity hybrids, life hybrids, with LTC, but your clients have no idea. Okay, so we are going to share a lot of this information today from, my opinion, one of the top carriers. Okay, Securian is on with us, and they have a great solution as well. They even have a landing page that was set up just for LTC Awareness Month and for you all, for agents to jump in and use some of these campaigns, facts, products, quoting material, all the above. So anyway, sit back, relax, pen and paper, okay, or use that Q&A pane. You can ask questions, comments, feedback, good, bad, and different. We need and want to hear from each and every one of you. So please share, okay? And then if you need a quote, okay, let's say we hang up the call right at 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have our webinar giveaway. We'll end at 3 p.m. And if you have questions, need a quote, and want to speak to any one of our marketers, we now have a team of 11 just on the marketing side, and they are here to help you with the Securian software, with the product info, brochures, whatever you need. Shoot us an email or call. We're also going to send out a thank you email before the day is up. You'll have this in your inbox, and it will be everything that we're going over today, including contracting. Okay, so if you're ready to get appointed, you have a guy, you have a girl, you'll have everything in your inbox. Like I said, if you can't wait, reach out before that. No problem at all. In fact, we love to hear from you, as you know. Okay, what I also want to do is apologize. I know we were 8 minutes late here. We had a technical issue on the Securian side that we worked through. It was with Chris and Derek, but we got that figured out. So we are now good to go. But I just wanted to extend my apologies once again on our behalf. What we're also going to do is at the end of the call, I'm going to ask a question that has to do with our presentation, with our playbook, okay, which I know most of you know by now. Whoever answers first incorrectly wins the new Apple AirPods and the IUL prospecting book, okay? Complimentary, so make sure you're on until the end. All right, so what we're going to do, let's move to our first slide, and it's what we're all here for, is to learn more about LTC and to jump into LTC Awareness Month, which is, like I said, November. So I think this is an important point here. And what I want to do is, we all have our LTC hats on today, right? And there's so many ways to go about it in today's time. So yes, the younger generation now, they're more tech savvy, right? They're going on Google search, Chat GPT. They're looking up what is this long-term care? How can I protect my family, right? When my parents need it, so the burden isn't on us, right? And I can take care of my kids. So the bottom line is the consumers are more educated, as we know, right? But they have no idea that, number one, there's a LTC alternative product available, right, called HHC, which, by the way, we have on our Insure Me Now Direct platform. Okay, so I know I'm shifting gears for a second, but this is important. So for door openers, for the low hanging fruit products, okay, think about this for a second. We have an LTC alternative product, home health care, that starts at just a few bucks a month, and it's basically guaranteed issue, and it's on the Insure Me Now Direct platform, which means your consumer, you can literally send a link, or they can go on your website, your consumer, run a quote, they can apply, okay, and everything is done from A to Z within 11 minutes, right from your Insure Me Now Direct site. So that's a great option, okay, especially if you're running social media ads. As you know, with Insure Me Now Direct, we have Manhattan Life, Assurity Life, Banner Life, and Gerber Life that are all part of the platform. And then we have Symetra as the latest carrier that's joining the Insure Me Now Direct platform. So I love the HHC product, okay, for maybe people that can't qualify for a traditional LTC product. So that's number one. Number two, think about hybrids now, right? Annuity with LTC. Think about life with LTC. Okay, that's a great option. And then we also have standalone LTC products. Okay, that and some of these newer products, by the way, are guaranteed. So you're not going to have these issues like 20, 30 years ago where maybe someone sold a product that was locked in for 122 a month, and then they get a letter 2 years later that the premiums tripled. Okay, next thing you know, there's lawsuits, and which obviously you want to avoid. Today's time is different, and we're here to help you with that. But there's many, many options when it comes to LTC marketing, which is the name of the game. What I love about the left side here, and by the way, if you want to check this out, bottom left corner, LTC facts. So if I have my agent hat on, right? If you think about this for a second, and by the way, you can fact check me when we're done. Bottom line is 10%, this is a fact, 10% of Americans that need LTC coverage that fall in our target age range, 10% have it. 90% do not. Okay. Do you think that this is a good opportunity to open doors, to educate consumers on a seminar, on a webinar? Absolutely. And we have all the material to help you do that. Okay. So the other stats, I mean, they're mind blowing when it comes to how big the opportunity is, how large the gap is for you to jump into and spread the message, build awareness, educate these people that maybe are your existing customers, friends, family, all the above. And by the way, yourself, you probably need this as well. Okay, if you think about it, right? So we all know the best way to learn is when you actually purchase a product for yourself and your own family, right? To protect. So you don't have a burden on your shoulders. Anyway, right hand side is the sandwich generation, which speaks to exactly that, right? Let's say if you're middle aged, right? You're the couple in the middle, you have your children below, which you're responsible for, right? Until they're 18. And then above you on the third floor is parents. So obviously, this protects against the burden being on you when it comes to long-term care expenses. Bottom line, the opportunity couldn't be any better and greater than where it is today. And we have the products to help you protect against that and spread the message. Let's keep moving. Testimonials. So real fast, these are a few great agent testimonials that came in through our Facebook page and on our Google reviews link. By the way, if you leave a review, we send you an IUL prospecting book, complimentary, as long as you're an active agent. But let's move over real fast to the top left-hand corner. Eddie, we're so grateful for you and your great friendship. No day passes for me where I don't think of and greatly appreciate you, Bill, and your entire agency. Can you imagine? That's Eddie Levin, right, who was actually on our podcast before. Just wanted to say, hey, I love you guys. You're great. This was on a Saturday. So that's amazing. Okay. Time out of his day to share a great message. Bottom left corner, Michelle, thanks for all your help. You were awesome, Ron. And then let's move over to the right-hand side. Okay. Bottom right corner here. So real fast, what I love to do, and you know this by now, is sit here and train our agents and have you, let's say you're Johnny in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, learn more from other agents that are crushing it out there, okay, in the life space, in the annuity space. It doesn't make a difference, even health now. But what I like to do is share these episodes from our podcast. So once a month, okay, I host these monthly editions. They're about an hour long, and I pull in top agents from around the country, and I pretend I'm you. And I say, okay, Johnny, Shelley, what are you doing that's different that other agents can learn from? Why are you an MDRT producer and they aren't, or he's not, or she's not? What can we do different? Any ideas, strategies? What do you do in your seminars, webinars that's unique? Okay. And that's the best learning tool for you, and it's free. So, anyway, back to this comment here. So, this just came in this morning. And he said, "Good morning, brother. Just wanted to let you know I listened to the amazing interview yesterday. It was excellent. I'm looking forward to number 63." And then it has to do, he's talking about cars and how his varsity football jersey was 63. But here's the best part. On the bottom, he said, "I loved how you went into the cigar segment, right? It's about being in larger rooms. This is what we spoke about on the last episode, and how his wife watches multiple podcasts." Anyway, bottom line is, he said, in his words, my favorite episode ever out of 62 episodes. You've got to check that one out. Okay. It's in YouTube. It's on your favorite podcast channel. It's on, in fact, everywhere you can find a podcast. It's there. It's free. You got to check it out. Okay. And then the last one was awesome. That was Ron Smith, who totally is crushing the annuity space. So check that out when you can. Let us know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, I got about 2 slides left, and then I have Chris and Derek that are going to take over. As you know, we do our big event of the year, our Agent Expo. So in South Florida, right on the sand, on the beach, okay? And hopefully you can come down if you're from the northern side, whatever. Even if you're close here, local, in Florida, it doesn't make a difference. So it's free for everybody. As long as you're an active agent with us, it's free. Okay, then what we do above and beyond that is we pay for a 2-bedroom suite right on the ocean, okay, up to 2 nights, okay, right on the ocean, and round trip airfare. So we take care of everything. Bring your spouse down, kids, whatever, vacation, staycation, call it whatever you want. Now, here's how this works. It's free, okay? We do breakfast, lunch, dinner the night before for the out-of-town agents. But if you want to fly in or stay in our 2-bedroom suite, we have different qualification levels. So this is all premium, long-term care, annuity, life, even health, doesn't make a difference. Starting at $40,000, that's the bronze level. Okay, but here's the best part. December, we're doing double credit. So all paid premium in December counts as double credit. Okay, but either way, you have to make sure you're registered. Why? Because the room is capped at 300 per the fire marshal. So we have to stop at 300, and I know we're getting closer, so make sure you're registered. And then, of course, we'd love to pay for airfare in a 2-bedroom suite on the ocean, okay? In April, in 2026, April 17th, make sure you're there, save the date, do whatever you want to do, but get that premium in and make sure you have that day open. Let's keep moving forward. What I want to talk about next is various options. This is my last slide, by the way, and then Chris and Derek are going to take the wheel. And you have to just sit back for a second and say, and if you've been doing this for a year or 32 years, it doesn't make a difference. There's a lot going on right now in the market, in the industry right now, on the micro, long-term care. What are the best solutions? What are the best carriers, products, right? All the above. What is this hybrid thing? Tell me more. Give me more info, right, Bill? Okay. So here's how you need to look at it. We're out there every day trying to figure out what's the best solutions, right, for our agents to present to their consumers. So there's a reason why we're listing the carriers that we're listing in front of you on this slide. Okay. So real fast, I'm going to break it down. Top left corner. When you think back 20, 30 years ago, it was GE or Genworth, standalone long-term care, right? I think Hancock also had a product, and premiums exploded, as we know. Okay, fast forward to today, there's basically 2 solutions that are left that are safe and conservative for you and your consumer. National Guardian Life and Mutual of Omaha. We have a direct contract with both. Top right corner, single premium life with LTC riders, Equitrust, and National Western Life. In the center section, hybrids, okay? What you're going to notice is Securian Financial is on the left. Lincoln, One America, Nationwide, John Hancock. The bottom, annuities with LTC. We have One America, Equitrust Global, and Nationwide. And the best part is a lot of these products are guaranteed issue. Okay, so even if your client has some health issues, we can typically figure out a single premium or an annuity with an LTC rider and have some type of solution. Our marketers can answer all of your questions for you. Point is, we have the best options in the industry, bar none. Okay, that's everything in a nutshell for this slide. All right, my main slide here in our feature presentation today is by Securian Financial. Our good friend Chris Solomon and Derek Bowen is joining us as well, and they're going to jump into Securian's offering when it comes to long-term care. Chris, are you there?
Bill, I am here, and I really do appreciate you carrying the weight early on in the conversation for everybody that's on the phone. The reason why we kicked off late was because I had a technological issue trying to get in to go to a meeting, but I think we're all square now. Andrew, you're going to be doing the advancement of the slides for us. Many of you on the phone probably have seen me present at the Levinson Expo in the past. I've been to the past 12 or 13 of them. They do fill up and get jam-packed. Out of all of the meetings I've been to over the number of previous years, I think last year, Bill, I'm going to throw a dart and say they probably had about 200 people there, and it's been steadily growing year over year. So if you plan on attending, you will get the bang for your buck out of it. You will get sales ideas out of it, and hear from consistently great carriers. If you're on this call today, you're connected with one of the best BGAs I've ever worked with in the nation. Joining me today is Derek Bowen. I've switched uniforms over the past 6 months over to Securian Life. I think they have a great value proposition. They have a great product offering. And I'm going to look to help them grow in the brokerage general agency space. Their product set is superior. Derek is a colleague of mine. He works in the living benefits arena. He's going to kick off the meeting and talk about LTC. It's his wheelhouse. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Derek. He's going to go through a few slides, and he's going to turn it over to me, and I'm going to button it up. Derek, over to you.
Thank you very much. And yes, good afternoon. Thank you so much. If you could advance the slide, I'd appreciate that. And thanks for driving it. So yeah, my name's Derek Bowen. And so for the agenda, we're going to talk about our offering, the Secure Care 3. But before we do, I'd love to talk about, our financials at Securian, why you would want to do business with us. And it is long-term care month. So, why are we doing long-term care planning? We're going to talk about kind of the costs of care. And then I'm going to kick it back over to my colleague, Chris, so he can talk about our long-term care riders on our permanent products and some of the other riders that we have. And then, of course, more importantly, we want to finish off with a great sales idea. If you could advance the slide, please, that'd be great. Advance the slide again. And thank you so much for driving this. Sorry about the technicality issues. When I talk with advisors and clients all the time, I do love to focus on, why would you partner with insurance companies? And I always pivot and say, insurance companies have similar characteristics as some of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time. If you can advance the slide, it's because, you want an insurance company that has experience. You want an insurance company that has size and strength. And, there's arguments about who's the greatest NFL quarterback of all time. I grew up in the 80s. A lot of people thought it was Joe Montana. Chris, for anyone that knows Chris, he's actually a Broncos fan. If you advance it, he thinks that actually the greatest NFL quarterback of all time might be John Elway, but I'm sure everybody can agree, absolutely the greatest NFL quarterback of all time is absolutely without question, obviously this guy. I am from Boston, Massachusetts, so there's no argument for me. It's absolutely Tom Brady. But, I bring that up because when you partner with an insurance company, you want experience, you want size, and you want strength. And so for anyone on the call that hasn't done business with Securian, I can tell you that we have tremendous experience, we have tremendous size, and more importantly for your customers, we have that strength. So if we take a look at the next two slides, we can show you that we do have size. We're the fourth largest linked benefit sales provider. We have 4.5 billion in gap benefits. We service more than 23 million customers across North America. On the next slide, we'll show you that we have a Condex rating of 95. So, when you partner with Securian, for anyone that doesn't know who we are, you can be confident when you're showing us to your customer that we do have an A+ superior AM Best rating as well. So why long-term care? Bill did a great job teeing us up, and we appreciate that very, very much. A lot of people focus on statistics, and of course, statistics are staggering. I'm sure every single one of us knows somebody that has a long-term care event, personally, certainly in the family. But it's really back to basics, right? It's about how are you going to pay for that care? Where do you want that care done? And who's going to pay for the care, right? We all know the need. 85% of adults are going to have a chronic medical condition. The costs are staggering, and absolutely there's a concern. But when we think about kind of the who, the how, and the where, I can speak for myself and the people in my circles. The bottom line is most people I know want to have their care done in their home, right? Nobody wants to pay for their own care, no matter how affluent they are. And absolutely nobody wants to nobody wants their own children to take care of them. I was brought up in a Catholic household, and I can tell you my parents absolutely don't want me taking care of them. So, we look at the next slide. What's really staggering is that a lot of folks think that places like California and New York have the highest cost of care. As I mentioned, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. As of yesterday, the state of Massachusetts has the highest average cost of a nursing home stay. So these are the average costs throughout the entire state. And I picked on California because a lot of people think California has the highest costs, and the costs are absolutely staggering. So if we look at the state of California as an example, the average home health aid cost in the state of California is just over $72,000. Assisted living is over $63,000. But the average nursing home cost per year in California is $143,000 and change, which is very expensive, of course, per year today. But in Massachusetts, the average cost in the state of Massachusetts is over $173,000. That's the highest in the nation today. I picked out Minnesota because Securian, our home office, is in St. Paul, Minnesota. So that's where our home office is. But for the United States, the average, so in the entire country, the average nursing home cost everywhere is over $100,000 today. And of course, those costs are absolutely, projected to go up significantly. So as we're talking to our advisors and their clients, these projected costs are absolutely going to go up, right? We don't know how much, but we need to plan for those increases, and that's our job every single day. So there's 4 ways to pay for care that we talk about every day. Self-fund, right? And as we're talking to our affluent clients, they're always talking about the self-fund mechanism. Certainly, family members are paying for care. A lot of people think that their government is going to pay for the care, right? And there's a lot of misconceptions about Medicare and Medicaid and how that pays for long-term care expenses. And then, of course, insurance, right? Transferring that risk. And Bill talked about the different policies that are out in the market today, and I'll talk about that a little bit as well. And there's different types of long-term care insurance. And again, Bill's slide teed this up beautifully. Traditional long-term care insurance has changed a lot. 30 years ago, there was a lot of options. Today, there's basically 2. There's life insurance with accelerated benefits. There's a lot of options. Chris is going to talk about a few that we have at Securian. There's a new market today with annuities that have long-term care riders. More and more carriers are bringing that to market. Securian might be one of those carriers, but today we do not have an annuity product that has a long-term care rider. And then there's the hybrid product that we have that I'm going to talk about in a moment. I like this slide a lot because when we're talking about insurance planning, we're talking about long-term care planning. We always talk about with clients and advisors that, if you don't act today, the cost of waiting a year is really drastic, right? your policy premium is going to be more expensive, naturally. But this slide really talks about your client's cost of waiting is significant from a declination perspective. And when we think about, life insurance planning, mortality is significant, but long-term care planning, morbidity is really critical, right? When we think about long-term care planning, unfortunately, unlike life insurance planning, when you're underwriting for long-term care in a traditional sense, it's really yes or no. The annuity market gives us a little bit more flexibility, and Bill and his team can talk about that with you a little bit more. But with long-term care morbidity underwriting, there's not a lot of flexibility. And if your clients wait, the danger of them getting a policy is significantly reduced. And as you can see here, clients ages 50 to 59 have a 20.4% chance of being declined. But if they wait until age 60, that percent jumps to 30%. And if they wait till age 65, so if they wait another 5 years, it jumps up to 38%. So the application declination goes up significantly, and the potential cost of waiting is pretty significant. Go and advance the slide, please. With our SecuriCare 3 policy, our value proposition is very simple. We understand that clients that are buying these long-term care policies, traditionally are older, right? And, they've earmarked that asset to pay for long-term care. So we feel that, they're earmarking that asset because they want to have a guarantee. And so if they need that care, they want that benefit to be guaranteed. And so that's what our SecuriCare 3 policy really provides. It's guarantees. And so if they need the care, it provides a guaranteed cash benefit for long-term care. And our policy is indemnification. And so indemnification, for those that need a refresher, means that when they need their benefits, they do not need to provide receipts. They can access their funds when they go on claim with no receipts. So guaranteed cash benefit for long-term care. If the client dies and don't use their benefits, they do get the death benefit. That's also guaranteed. If they don't want to access their policy and they want their money back, they can also return their premium. And we have 3 different options that I'll talk about for a quick moment. And if they actually stop paying their premiums, they do have a guaranteed reduced paid up benefit also with our policy. So our value proposition is really based on some guaranteed principles. So there's some product features. I won't go into every single one of them. This product mix, this hybrid space, was predominantly a single premium market, but over the past 10 years or so, we've really started to see more of a multi-pay level policy basis, and there's a lot of reasons for that we'll touch upon. But as I mentioned, there's 3 return of premium options. What makes our product very, very unique are a couple of reasons. One, we have robust international benefits. So more and more Americans are actually retiring internationally. So with our policy, your clients can access their funds when they go on claim if they retire outside of the U.S. So that's very unique to Securian. We also have the potential to deduct long-term care premiums with our product. So there are product functions. Clients can actually deduct the premium on an individual basis, but also for business paid long-term care premiums. So if you have C Corps or some pass-through entities, they can actually deduct the long-term care premiums with our product, the way our product is reported, where some of our peer products don't provide that value. So we have a lot of great materials that can help support that, and we can work on those cases with you with our advanced folks. So if you have some business cases that you want to talk about, please circle back with us on that. So we have 3 return of premium options. I won't spend too much time on it. One's vesting, 75% long-term care boost. Very simple. Vesting is 100% return of premium. 75% is just that, 75% return of premium. And then the long-term care boost is really just going to provide the clients the most long-term care for their dollar. 96% of clients choose the long-term care boost. The remainder choose the vesting. 0% of clients choose the 75% option. Our illustrations are very transparent and very easy to understand and show a client. On every single illustration, it shows all three options to a client. So there's really no guesswork. A client and an advisor are able to make an educated decision on every single case. You have to choose at issue and you're not able to change your mind. So clients are informed and they're able to make a decision right away. Clients are buying for the long-term care value, so they are choosing the long-term care boost more times than not. Historically speaking, for these policies, less than a fraction of 1% of policies have been liquidated for the return of premium, not just at Securian, but industry-wide. So some clients like to know that they have access to the cash value, but clients are not exercising that return of premium feature. So historically, that's what we're seeing. It's just a case study to kind of show you the three different mechanisms. And again, these values actually show up as shown here on the illustration, just like this. Not with that picture per se, but it'll break it down like this for the vesting 75% long-term care boost when you illustrate based on how much you're putting in the policy. So you and a client are able to make an informed decision like this. Competitive pricing, for the sake of time, apologies again for our tardiness. I won't go into this, so we can kind of go through this real quick. We're very competitive, that's all I'll say. Across all cells in all circumstances. Pre-screen process, as I mentioned, with long-term care, it's morbidity versus mortality, so it's really, unfortunately, more of a yes or a no. If you have a client that you're unsure if they are a good fit for a long-term care policy, we do have a fantastic pre-screen process whereby you can send us a snapshot of a client's circumstance, and we can give you an indication if this is a fit for a long-term care policy. Not only a fit with Securian, but we treat them very similarly across the board with all carriers. And as you can see here, this is the 888 number and also the email box. We can get you these materials after the fact, but you send an email with the client snapshot of their underwriting information as well. Just call that number. We'll turn it around within 24 hours and let you know if that client would be a match or not for long-term care policy. So you don't have to go through the process of submitting an application, and you can have an indication if the condition you're working with would be able to go through underwriting or not, without having to, go through the whole process itself. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Chris to talk about the permanent options we have with long-term care. Chris.
Hey, thanks, Derek. Good job. Just to reiterate a few things that Derek spoke about, he went through some of the financials for the company. We've been rated A+ by AM Best for the past 50 years, which would bring us back to 1975, and we've been rated, and that's their second highest rating. We've been rated A or better since 1950. So we have an ongoing track record of being financially stable. We are a carrier that is predominantly protection-based. We're looking to, and we continuously design products that will perform in a way which they were intended to perform when you sold them, without surprises now or in the future, so that your clients are protected on an ongoing basis. When I look at from a life insurance perspective, so Derek is on the hybrid living benefits side and I'm on the life insurance side. When I think about long-term care and long-term care awareness month, yes, we do have a hyper-competitive hybrid product in Secure Care 3 that I think can or does compete very, very well in the market space. But dependent upon what your client's needs are will generally dictate how they get their hybrid or long-term care or chronic illness care protection. One of the products that we have is a permanent product called Eclipse Protector 2. It's an index universal life. If you can hit the page down, Andrew, that'd be great. When we think about extended care events, and we went through some of the statistics around what it costs, why you need it, but if you think about an extended care event in any given family, think about it from you as a customer, as a consumer perspective. Think about what it does. As you as a planner have worked with customers and families over the years, you've helped them lay out financial plans, secure financial plans for future financial security. And when that extended care event occurs, it disrupts those plans. Paying for care shifts resources, starting with the income that the person has planned on taking. It shifts income and eventually shifts assets. And income is what drives current people, non-retirees, future retirees. Income is what drives the lifestyle, not necessarily assets. So with an extended care event, it can disrupt the lifestyle, the ability to provide for a surviving spouse moving forward, providing for kids or grandkids, or charitable commitments. Page down. From extended care perspective, those events trigger major changes in the family, particularly with those clients who you may come in contact with that say, I'm going to self-insure. Well, when you self-insure, caregiving can be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job for a spouse or a child. And essentially what that's going to do, if you think about your own perspective, it'll change the family dynamic from a spouse or a child to a caregiver. I've been through it. Some of you have seen me speak at the Levinson Convention. I've talked to you about how it changed my life briefly as a caregiver. The role changes create additional stresses on the family. So planning is tantamount. Secure Care 3 can definitely be an answer. Page down. Page down. There you go. One more. Eclipse IUL Protector is a guaranteed death benefit IUL product. When I look at the single life products that are protection focused, permanent single life products that are protection focused at Securian, we have Eclipse Protector IUL would be the predominant permanent product you'll have access to. That product is designed and priced specifically to be in the top 2 competitively on guaranteed to age 120 on a full pay basis, guaranteed to age 120 on a 1035 exchange and no recurring premium basis, and guaranteed to age 120 on a 10 pay or short pay basis. The charges inside of our contracts are traditionally very low and competitively very low compared to our counterparts. And there are a series of different riders and features that you can put on this product. Page down. We go down to a minimum face amount of $50,000. You can get an issue age up to age 80. One of the key pieces here is if you look at the very bottom bullet point here, some of you work in the juvenile marketplace, insuring children for the future. We have the ability to offer a preferred class on juvenile policies. Page down. Okay. The 4 different index options we have are S&P 500 with 100% participation. We have a low volatility uncapped index. We have a Euro Stoxx 50, and we have something called a rainbow account, which allows you to do essentially a look back between 3 different indices. I like the first one and the last one. Page down, Andrew. When I think about the format, I didn't come out on this one. When I think about the 3 different riders that are available that I think are most apropos when offering a guaranteed universal life solution to your clients, first and foremost, on the right-hand side, second one down, we'd want to add the no-lapse guarantee agreement. The agreement is another way of saying rider, but that no-lapse guarantee agreement allows us to take this Eclipse Protector 2 all the way out to 120 with a competitive standpoint of number 1 and number 2 pricing. On the very, very tiny left-hand side, what that says is accelerated benefit for chronic illness agreement. That's the chronic illness rider we can put on this policy, or on the right-hand side, in the big lettering, we can put a long-term care agreement. We have 2 different options. Page down. We have 2 different options dependent upon what your client's needs are. And we also have those 2 different options dependent upon what state your client resides in. So some of it comes down to licensing from the agent perspective. Some of it comes down to rules and regulations based on the state. we wanted to have the ability to offer a rider that a producer could select based on their current licensing status. Some states require a health insurance license to sell LTC. Therefore, we have a chronic illness agreement available, which essentially has the exact same parameters inside of it as the LTC rider. Some states limit what you can do with a long-term care rider. Some states don't, which is why we have a long-term care rider in most states. But in many other states, we have the chronic illness agreement. If I think about the Eclipse Protector 2 from a case study perspective and minimizing future long-term care and death benefit needs with a 1035 exchange, we have the ability here at Securian to split the 1035 exchange as it comes in. If you remember, I said that we're hyper competitive on full pays, short pays, and single pays. So if we look at George, who's married and in good health, has $150,000 in existing life insurance cash value, and he's concerned about future care needs and depleting his future assets and changing that future dynamic, page down, we have the ability to take that incoming 1035 exchange and split it between an Eclipse Protector 2 and a Secure Care 3. We can take George's $150,000, if you look on the right, and we can split that into $100,000 into an Eclipse Protector on a single pay basis and $50,000 on a single pay into Secure Care 3. On the Secure Care 3 product, looking on the right-hand side of the screen, we can provide a death benefit of $61,000 and the potential for $394,000 in long-term care benefit beginning at age 85. On the very bottom, from the Eclipse Protector perspective, we didn't put a long-term care rider on or a chronic illness rider on, but we provided an additional $228,000 in death benefit protection for a total of $290,000 in death benefit protection and a total of $394,000 in LTC protection. We have flexibility here at Securian, utilizing not only the Secure Care 3 product, but also the guaranteed index universal life product, Eclipse Protector 2. Page down. Sales idea number 2, we have Carl and his wife Susan. They want to leave a tax-free inheritance, permanent life insurance policy, that type of thing. They like to make sure their income and their assets can be replaced. Page down. Possible solution for Carl and Susan. They've decided to purchase a $500,000 Eclipse Protector IUL policy. The total premium for the policy is $36,000. They're going to do a 10 pay on this. Premium is paid using they can use a low interest bearing account if they wanted to, and the policy is guaranteed to 120. Page down. Page down one more time. From a competitive standpoint, I wanted to give you a flavor of where the Eclipse Protector 2 stacks up. From a full pay, a 10 pay, and a single pay perspective, you can see that the grid here is completely green. From a single pay perspective, it's vast majority of the time we are ranked number 1, both on male and female, on a variety of different ages. And as you move from the bottom to the top, you can see that it's scattered between number 1s and a great number of number 2s. At this point in time, we're starting to get up toward the top of the hour. I wanted to leave some time for questions between Derek and I. Bill, thanks for the time today. We greatly appreciate it. And Andrew, thanks for your patience in getting through our slides. So I'm going to open this back up to questions and hand it back over to Bill and Andrew.
All right, good stuff. Thank you both for taking the time. Andrew, do we have any questions that we couldn't get to? Anything we need Chris and Derek for before we wrap this up?
I do have a question from John in Missouri. He's asking what is Securian's underwriting edges as far as life insurance products? Where do you guys shine?
Tried it a number of different places. I did. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. From a life insurance perspective, we're not a carrier that's going to be hyper liberal. However, areas in which we shine, one of which can be cancer. Recently, I worked on a case internally, and the underwriter that I'm working with internally had a prostate cancer situation where the prostate cancer is still on direct follow-up. and we were able to offer a standard on that individual. We have highly competitive nicotine usage parameters. In some instances, as long as the insured does a couple of things. First and foremost, they admit to nicotine use. Second, they test negative to nicotine testing. We have the ability to do a couple of different things. One is we can decipher based on blood tests between combustible and non-combustible nicotine, meaning you're either a smoker or you're not a smoker. We have a fairly liberal set of guidelines for celebratory cigarettes and cigars. You can actually have upwards of 12 cigars or cigarettes per year, as long as, again, you test negative for nicotine cotinine and another protein that is produced when you ignite nicotine. You can get up to preferred. Our marijuana guidelines are fairly liberal as well. Those are three right off the top of my head. Any case that you're working on is that's a little bit more difficult. Definitely loop Bill in, and Bill can loop me or Derek in, depending upon the product type, and we can work internally to get the best offer out to you as possible.
Good stuff. Okay. All right. Good to go. I mean, just that nicotine niche is almost unheard of in the industry. So that's fantastic. Okay. I think we have about 5 minutes left. So I have a few more slides and campaign sales ideas, templates I want to share, and then we'll have our giveaway and put a bow on this. So thank you again, Derek and Chris. Great work, especially considering the technical difficulty issue that we had earlier. Okay, let's move on. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, so real fast, what I want to do is shift gears again and make sure everybody has enough info to be dangerous. And I don't know at the end there if you heard Chris, but the think about this for a second, and you can go back to your book of business. And by the way, nothing to do with LTC, but life insurance in general. If you have a consumer that smokes cigarettes, one a month, occasional, right? Preferred non-smoker, health class. That's unbelievable. So anyway, I would definitely jot that one down. That's a big deal. So anything, nicotine related, cigar smokers, will definitely take a look at Securian on your next case. Okay, so how to get started. I know a lot of you are appointed. A lot of you are not appointed with Securian. So what we can do either way is match or beat your existing commission contract. So just let us know, send over the grid, and most of the time we'll beat it. Plus, you get cash for contracting or free leads for contracting when you transfer and when you place your first application. Okay, it's that simple. Let's keep moving forward. And what I want to share too, and I think this is important, is, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to long-term care, living benefits, and, you need to know the basics. You need to know where to go for what and who to reach out to, right? You know who to reach out to, right? Our marketing team is here to help you. But on our website, what you probably aren't aware of is we have a complete turnkey section focused on long-term care, including facts, stats, marketing templates, campaigns, all the above, agent brochures, consumer brochures, everything. So that's what's in front of you right now. If you just hover on products, long-term care, boom, everything is in front of you, or use the Billy the Bot Chat GPT option as well. Okay, that sits on our homepage. All right, let's keep moving forward. So this is awesome. By the way, I've never seen anything like this by Nationwide. So they have a turnkey long-term care campaign that it's already pre-built. We can even help you co-brand this, but this was built for you so you can drip on your existing prospects and book of business, and think about friends, family members, business owners, right? This is a series of campaigns that is generated to build the LTC conversation and open doors for you. Okay, it's already done. We're going to include this in our thank you email. And by the way, hopefully you're set up with Nationwide with Levinson. But either way, they also have some great living benefit products, riders, all the above. Okay, let's keep moving forward. What I want to do next is you have already heard about our latest partnership with AmeriLife, so we can finally offer agents a turnkey health insurance department with leads, exclusive leads. Okay, finally, we are there. We had our webinar about 2 weeks ago, our announcement a couple weeks ago, and we're super excited, off to the races. Anyway, when it comes to over 65, that's where we're starting, right? Senior health products. We have you covered from A to Z. We even have a turnkey department with an 800 number, email already set up for you. All of these contracts are direct with the carrier. That's a big deal. Okay, that above and beyond agent benefits in the LeadStar exclusive lead platform, that is amazing. So if you want more information, there is a request form. If you follow the yellow arrow, we'll include that in our thank you email. Let's keep moving forward. Next up, I want to talk all about you, the agent, right? I mean, literally the top 3 questions from an agent's first phone call with us, think about this, is leads, commissions, and agent benefits. What do you offer us? Okay. And now we literally have you covered from A to Z. Why? Commissions are all direct, right? There's no 17 layers between you and the carrier or the IMO or the GA. No, it's you, us, and the carrier. Okay. So your contract is direct with each company. That's a big deal. Number 2, agent benefits. Think of like the career side years ago. Okay, all of those group plans that you had access to, right? Well, you do again, but now you're on the independent brokerage side, right? That's huge. On the bottom, this is our exclusive lead program, okay? This is built and owned by AmeriLife. So that means if you're a Levinson AmeriLife active agent, you get access. If not, you're out. Boom. These are all co-op discounted rates, everything from life insurance to health insurance to seminars, a CRM system, a dashboard. And by the way, it's free, right? So as long as you're in the system, you made at least one purchase for the leads, you get everything at no cost. Okay. And by the way, the agent benefits are separate. But that's also available to you and your downline agents as long as they're active with us. Anyway, make sure you're on the launch webinar next Wednesday. We're going to dive into all of this for an hour. Let's keep moving. I have 2 great performing social media posts I want to talk about quickly because I want to get everyone out in 2 minutes. So real fast, these did excellent in November. And what I wanted to point out is you should go on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, okay, even TikTok now for the younger generation, but you can punch in long-term care and it'll give you an option, recent or top performing posts. I always put top performing, and this is what came up. Okay, left-hand side, is this rocket science? No. Long-term care coverage can help you cover the cost of care, including at home. Okay, just that post created over 100 likes, shares, comments. Right-hand side. I love this, by the way. It's all about educating. Okay, and by the way, you can do the same exact thing, right? Make it look even prettier, fancier. If you love, look, it lists 4 options, right? Which are all simple to understand for consumers. And then it shows you on the right-hand side, you should get life insurance, disability, long-term care, and annuities. That created over 300 replies. That could be 300 new leads for you for free. Okay. But you got to get this stuff out there. Let's go to the next slide, the Bill Levinson Experience podcast. This was Ron Smith, one of our top annuity producers in the country, bar none. He's crushing it. Okay. I sit with him for an hour, pick his brain. You got to check this one out. It's complimentary. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. We do these once a month. I have 2 slides left and we are done. Okay, my life and annuity alert. It's now life, health, and annuity alert. Everything is covered in this alert with long-term care, the all living benefit, everything that we offer. Every company, every product, every tech platform is right here in your inbox every other week. Okay, if you're not getting it, let us know. Let's keep moving. I have 1 slide left. This is our training menu. What I want to point out, most important, top left corner, I just spoke about the new lead program, the new agent benefits. We are rolling that out next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, 1 hour, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to literally split it up down the middle, half leads, half agent benefits. And then Thursday, we have SILAC annuities. They made some updates, changes, bigger and better. That's the following day. So it's a double header webinar week next week. Right-hand side, August Star is back. And then on the bottom right corner, we have Coach Chris, who's an independent annuity consultant. He's going to give us his take on the annuity landscape for ending 25 and moving into 26. You don't want to miss that webinar on December 11th. My final slide here. I see I'm 3 minutes late. So again, I apologize. Okay, I'm going to mention my Positive Tuesday quote, and then I'm going to ask my question of the day. So make sure your little fingers are on the keyboard because you got to be first and you got to be correct. Okay, my quote: never forget those people who spoke to the winner in you before you started winning, right? You got to have those grateful moments. You have to think about, hey, you know what? I'm here because of them, right? Reach out, pick up the phone. Okay, even that's old school. Everybody's texting now and DMs and PMs, right? No, pick up the phone, show gratitude. And by the way, you should be doing this with all of your consumers, talking about living benefits and protecting their loved ones. So you got to think about this stuff, but you got to put the action plan together. My question of the day: I spoke about Insure Me Now Direct earlier on this presentation, right? Remember, Manhattan Life has that great long-term care door opener product called HHC. It's basically guaranteed issue. Okay. By the way, if I was an agent, I would use that to sprinkle all over social media, open doors, sell those products, right? And then it opens doors to new conversations, new clients, new relationships. But you got to think about that. Anyway, enough of my ranting. My question of the day: tell me the 4 carriers we have today on Insure Me Now Direct. Okay, this is part of our marketing playbook. Tell me the name of the 4 carriers on Insure Me Now Direct, and you win Apple AirPods IUL prospecting book on us. Andrew's going to tell us who's first and who's correct. By the way, I just gave you one of the carriers, so that was a little hint. You got a total of 4. Andrew, who was first and who was correct?
First is Alex R. Alex R.
Alex R. Congrats. Manhattan Life, Banner, Gerber, and Assurity. Alex, congratulations. By the way, everyone's a winner because if you go to our Facebook page or our Google reviews link, okay, leave a few comments, testimonial, and you get an IUL book on us. Okay, as long as you're active with us with at least one company, boom, you're in. You get access to our whole platform. With that said, have a great Thursday. Great selling. Thank you again, everyone. I apologize about the few minutes in the beginning, the technical issue they had on the Securian side. Reach out with any questions. Great selling again, and thank you for taking the time.